So how do you build a successful classroom environment? Well, here's your answer.
What were those again?
First time I've been a little fast. Let's try it again. You need to have behavior, academics, and social emotional learning. Now, I know those are very broad topics, and you can spend hours and days and years on each one of those. But I thought a lot about this. You see, one of the benefits of having a YouTube channel is that when I create videos, I have to think a lot about my So as a teacher, I've been doing this a long year and I just kind of teach. I've been doing this and at some point in time, it kind of comes second nature. But as I create a video or as I'm coaching or as I'm talking to somebody else, and they're actually asking me, what do I do? And I have to think to myself, what do I do? How do I break down what I've been doing into comprehensive, into things that can be duplicated? And I came up with this framework. And the framework and this idea is something that, who knows, maybe eventually I might create a book with. But the idea is this, that there are 3 parts to a successful, effective classroom. And once again, those 3 things are going to be the behavior, the academics, and the social emotional learning. And now what you got to understand, and the more I thought about this, they're not all the same. What I mean is they're not all the same as far as the impact they have. It is my belief, and I created, let me see if I get this for you here, and this is so going to be so pathetic, but here's the very, very, very first rough draft of what my concept is. But what you have is you're going to have 3 gears. So my concept, my belief is this, that an effective, successful classroom is made up of 3 things. And so we're going to represent those by 3 gears, all right? In the middle, and the largest gear, and the one that has the most impact upon everything else is classroom management. You need to have that down. Without having classroom management, the other 2 items, the other types are the academics or the social emotional learning, you're not going to really have much success with either one of those unless you have the classroom management down. I mean, think about this. You can be the smartest person in the whole world. You can know everything about your topic. But if you're in a classroom of teenagers and you're trying to teach them that, it's going to go nowhere if you don't have classroom management. You need to have that structure in the classroom down. But once you have the structure of the classroom management down, then you can kind of focus on the next gear. Now, it's not to say you don't totally ignore the other ones, but there should be a priority on certain things. And the first one is classroom management. Then the next thing you want to focus on would be the academics part. And so the academics, you would focus upon that. And then once you have the classroom management down, then you're actually able to carry out a lesson plan, and you're actually able to move that bar on academics. And then once you have those 2 things in place, then you can spend some time on social emotional learning. Now, once again, I'm not saying ignore social emotional learning or academics, but I'm saying you got to put 90% of your effort in classroom management. Then once that's done, 90% of effort in academics, and once that is unlocked, then you can focus on the social emotional learning. So if you don't have these parts down, you're never going to get to the social emotional learning because you just can't. You can't have those connections with the students. You can't have those deep conversations. You can't have the reassurance with them if the classroom's out of control. So when I think a lot about how do you have an effective classroom, it comes down to these 3 gears. Let me put this back down here. Drawing wasn't that good anyways. But that's what you got to have in your classroom. Now each one, man, you can take a deep dive in each one. If you look at my videos, I have different videos on different concepts, and a lot of it has to do with classroom management. And you can definitely, and you're going to have to do that at one point in time, go into it thoroughly. But to have a truly effective, successful classroom, you need to have all 3 parts. But you got to work on them in that order. Once again, work on a classroom management, then academics, and then social emotional learning. Now, once you have that all going in place and all gears are working, they start reinforcing each other. So you have the classroom management. When that starts going, it's going to help the academics. You're going to help the classroom management, you're going to help the academics. And when those 2 things are working together, you're going to see that naturally, it's going to start flowing over to and start turning the gears on the social emotional learning. And as you start turning the gears on social emotional learning, it's going to reinforce the classroom management. And that's going to reinforce that. And it starts this beautiful flywheel that kind of just generates itself and just kind of supports each other. But you have to get the whole thing going to begin with. And what you're going to find, and I'm thinking about my analogy here of these gears, is you need oil for all these gears. And the oil for all those gears is the classroom culture. Now, the classroom culture doesn't just happen. It's something you got to work on. It's something you got to build. It's by working on these 3 gears. But once you start working on these 3 gears and you have the good classroom culture, you're going to find that this machine, we'll call it the classroom machine, it just starts humming at a beautiful pace. And that is when you start seeing success. Not just success in the classroom management, but success in the academics. And not just success in the academics, but a success in as far as the overall student themselves, right? The social emotional learning part of it. So just some quick things and to kind of just carry this thought all the way through. For the behavior, the things under that category are like routines and procedure and discipline. That's kind of under that umbrella. For academics, you got things such as lesson planning, standards, assessments. And the social emotional learning, you got peer-to-peer, confrontation, resolution. You got, the whole child philosophy going on that. So when it's time to actually think about how you create a classroom environment, to create the classroom, effective classroom and successful classroom, you got to think about all 3 of those gears working together. But that might be a very hard thing to tackle at first. So if you're going to tackle one thing, focus on the classroom management, and then you can build upon the rest of it.